There's evidence that people used ayahuasca in ceremonies as far back as 2000 BC. A lot of people believe that ayahuasca is a ritual of death where you experience death before you actually physically die. And that tearing apart of your ego and losing yourself is what it feels like to die. And if you can experience that through ayahuasca, and death, for a lot of people, I would argue for most people, is their biggest fear, is kind of like losing the sense of their self, that ego death. If you can experience that and work through it, then that gives you the strength to not act as though death is such a fearful force in your life when you go back to your everyday self. And so going through, it's like a ritualized way to experience death before you're 95 years old and you're ready to die. It's like if you've been through an intense psychedelic experience where you lose your ego, you won't be afraid of death. You might actually welcome death, or you might be at peace. And a lot of people I know that are terminally ill, they do psychedelics to help them accept the fact that they are going to die well before they are supposed to. Or well before the average person would die, and taking psychedelics on your deathbed can help a lot of people become okay with the fact that death is inevitable.
Yeah, it kind of seems like, I mean, who knows? We haven't done it, but it seems like it brings you out of the, like you said, the bodily experience. We're very centered on our senses and being, like I said, comfortable, you know, and then we're intertwined into our everyday lives, like whatever our responsibilities are. But it kind of takes you on like a spiritual trip that like detaches you from these urges or senses or tasks that you have to do that you keep thinking about. It's like, it's telling you like, hey, dude, just fucking focus on this for 2 hours. Like, this is what really matters. Tests that your upcoming tests that you've been getting sick of, you're sick, that's how anxious you are for this test. Like, dude, that's not life. Like, this is life. Like, just experience this is what you should feel like. You know, but everyone gets so caught up in shit that they're like, oh my God, like you can't walk over to someone and say, hi, you're so fucking anxious, or like, yeah, that test coming up, and it probably just like does something to your body where it's like, this is what's important, you know, this feeling of like connectedness to everyone. I don't know.
Have you heard
trying as little as possible to sound like a psychic, but but I really do believe everyone's like connected in a way with like energy and stuff. I think it can like help you get into that realm sense.
Can you read my mind? What am I thinking right now?
You're 100%,
because I think you may be psychic.
100% thinking about boiling pasta in about an hour.
That's not false. I'm also thinking about how it's crazy that this is the first podcast recorded by two people with no legs.
Yeah, dude.
And you can't
actually. Well, I have it, but I do have them, but it kind of looks like Patrick Starr down there.
Yeah, if you're watching this, you can't see our legs, of course, because that's how a lot of remote podcasts are, and
ayahuasca removes your legs.
Yeah, you don't know if we have legs. And that's one of the main side effects of ayahuasca, is that when you come out of your trip feeling all euphoric and you're feeling calm, sense of peace, that's the feeling of the blood draining out of your lower half when you realize your legs have been severed during the trip. And so once you come out of it, that is the peaceful state that you feel. It's the lack of blood, kind of falling asleep right before you die. It's like when people, like in the movie Nightcrawler, where Jake Gyllenhaal walks his friend into that shooting at the end. Spoiler alert. And when his
dude, you said it after. Now I have to go re-edit spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. And then so yeah, his friend / cameraman is bleeding out, and he says something along the lines of, why did you do this? Why? And Jake Gyllenhaal said something psychotic, and then he kind of his friend just kind of like fades away. And that's what happens if you lose your legs during a trip.